We previewed it. The writers have written all year long about it. The student versus the teacher. Jay scored 5, or will the torch be passed? Tradition. The next name you hear will be the 2011 Mr. Olympia. And the title of 2011 Mr. Olympia. To our winner tonight.
Jay Cutler and Phil Heath's story is more than just about competition. It's about a journey. Jay was like a mentor to Phil, guiding him through the world of bodybuilding. They both trained under Hani Rambod, and for years they were workout partners, constantly pushing each other to be better.
Last one, dude. Super volumized. Let's go.
Jay, the older, more experienced guy, was always the underdog. He'd lost to Ronnie Coleman 5 times, but instead of giving up, Jay just kept going. He gave 110% every time, and in 2006, he finally won Mr. Olympia. He went on to win 4 times, but despite all that success, he stayed humble, never letting it change who he was.
Jay Cutler!
In 2009, Jay and Phil became workout partners.
When we work together, the biceps, we train him so hard that he almost puked.
And that's when things got interesting. It wasn't just about lifting weights together. They were motivating each other, learning from each other, and growing together.
I feel that I've been very fortunate to have this type of gift, but more importantly, the people around me have been so great that I have to succeed. So with that, I have to, really take advantage and be a sponge to this whole experience.
These weren't just guys handing them weights. They were the ones pushing them past their limits. These guys weren't just training. They were in the trenches with partners who wouldn't let them settle for anything less than greatness.
I think training with Jay under the same tutelage as Hani Rambod, with Hani being there, when it's just Hani and I mean, we get some really good workouts in, but when it's Jay, I mean, your intensity goes up tenfold because he's been there. I've been pro since 2005. Jay's been doing this since he was 17 years old. So he's been through the ups and downs. He's battled with Ronnie Coleman, one of my favorite bodybuilders. He's beaten all these other bodybuilders, and I just get a rise out of being able to just train next to the guy, so I can't help but to want to kick some ass and have fun.
But their story didn't start there. Back in 2003 at the NPC Northern Colorado, a 23-year-old Phil Heath, still pretty unknown, won both the novice and open overall titles.
2003 NPC Muscle Mag, Northern Colorado. Men's novice heavyweight first place, the open light heavyweight first place, and the overall.
The guest poser that day was Jay Cutler, who had just won his 2nd straight Arnold Classic.
That's when I met Jay, the first time I met Jay. Some people had seen the picture with me and Jay the first time I ever competed and stuff. And I went up to him and was like, "Please, sir, can I please take a picture with you?" And he's like, "Yeah."
They met for the first time, and even though Jay was 100 pounds heavier, Phil boldly told him, "One day, I'm going to compete against you on the Olympia stage."
I was like, "If you don't mind me asking, what'd you weigh?" He goes, "I'm 290. And I go, "That's all right, I'm 190. You know what I mean?
Jay, being the pro, just smiled and played it off.
So that was like our first interaction and stuff. So,
But that was the moment when Phil's determination was set. And it was clear that one day he'd be standing toe-to-toe with Jay for the top spot.
I was hooked.
I first met Jay in 2003 as an amateur. And now I'm on the same stage with him. It's unbelievable.
Fast forward to 2010. Their third time on the Olympia stage, and it was all about Jay, the big brother, and Phil, the no longer little brother. After the posing routine, the two were left alone on stage, waiting for the decision.
If I may have you in the center line, please.
Jay turned to Phil and said, "Who would have thought when we met that we'd be here, as friends, standing as the last two guys for Mr. Olympia?" It was a moment of reflection, a bond built through years of hard work. In the end, Jay took home his 4th Sandow, but Phil knew he was right there.
The next name you hear will be the winner of the 2010 Mr. Olympia. Jay Cutler!
He'd given Jay a real run for his money. The moment had finally arrived. The ultimate battle between the teacher and the student.
When I'm training this year, like it's a lot of business. I mean, because I know what time it is. I know that it's time to, put up or shut up. Just expect it to be a war and feel he's ready to fight. Coming to win.
And that's now what the gold frames, because those are my pinnacle of my career wins, of those 2 top ones. That was 2010. And, I'm waiting to fill that 2011 right now. I think everyone wants to see the battle from the year prior. They're looking to see what Phil brings new and what Jay Cutler can hold off is more the sense going into this show, because everyone knows, I'm only going to do so much with my body. Hopefully there'll be some improvements, but the most improvements we'll see is obviously Phil's a young guy. He's up and coming.
Actually got the chance to guest pose with Jay, not on the same stage, but different time. That's when I got to meet Jay for the very first time, actually visit with him. The pump-up room at the Boulder Theater is like this room right here. Like then Jay goes, "Are you sponsored?" And everyone stops. He goes, "Hey man, are you sponsored?" And I said, "No." So you should be. And I was like, and everyone was like, "Dude, Jay Cutler just talking to Phil Heath?" Because Jay wasn't talking to nobody. Before he went up on stage, he goes, "Phil, I see everybody around the world. I wouldn't tell this to anybody." I was like, "Come on, man, don't BS me, you know what I'm saying?" He's like, "No, I wouldn't, I believe." So then we ended up hanging out that night, and he told me to give me my contact information to him. He emailed me and said, "Send me a couple pictures." I sent them to him. He sent them to everybody he knew in the industry. Next thing you know, my phone, I was working at Ballet Total Fitness, and my phone was ringing off the hook so much that I almost got fired that day. Like I said, I've been very fortunate to have someone like him around, and I know he's always had my back on everything, but I don't want to be friends just in bodybuilding. I want to be friends for life. He's my boy.
I'm taking him into account as much as everyone else, though, at this point, making different adjustments to be at my absolute best. I'm sure Phil's in Denver doing the same thing. And it's going to be another showdown, and the best man will win.
But then came 2011. That was Phil's year.
From the USA, 4-time Mr. Olympia, Jay Cutler.
He didn't just catch up, he straight up dominated. At 248 pounds, Phil's physique was on another level, perfectly balanced between size and conditioning.
I mean, I've been second, I've been fifth, I've been third at that show. I kind of know what it feels like to have all these emotions in different placements. And now there's only one more spot to go, and that's to be number 1.
That's the gift, Phil Heath.
And here comes Jay Cutler, the champ.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 4-time and reigning Mr. Olympia champion, Jay Cutler.
Jay, on the other hand, was struggling. He weighed 258 pounds, but his left bicep was torn, his legs were downsized, and his upper body was flat. Jay wasn't bad at all, but he just wasn't the same champion we were used to seeing. His prime was gradually slipping away. He still brought a solid package.
Phil Heath, Jay Cutler.
But when you compare him to Phil, the difference is undeniable. Phil was on a completely different level. Take a look at these shots of Jay and Phil posing together during pre-judging. Phil was full, with fresh, round muscle bellies that could rival anyone on that stage that day. Arguably, it was one of the best physiques we've ever seen in bodybuilding history, if not the best.
I think we got two guys we haven't called yet.
Finally, it's the 2011 final show day. Just like in 2010, Jay and Phil are once again at the center of the stage. But this time, Phil looks like the one to beat, showing immense promise to take the win. As they step onto the stage, they share a hug, a moment that beautifully captures both their friendship and the fierce battle unfolding right before our eyes. On center stage, they went back to back with every pose. Both of them looked incredible, going head to head in an unforgettable showdown during the finals that day.
If I could have Phil Heath and Jay Cutler in the center stage, please. We previewed it. The writers have written all year long about it. The student versus the teacher. Will Jay score 5 or will the torch be passed?
When they stood side by side waiting for the results, it was clear. Phil had taken the crown.
I think they're discussing it. Who do you got, Phil?
As they stood there, waiting for the announcement, Phil said, "Thanks for never letting our friendship get messed up by this whole industry."
The first place award, the Olympia gold medal, and the title of 2011 Mr. Olympia. To our winner tonight, Phil Heath!
Jay smiled and said, "You're going to be the king now. Are you ready?" And Phil, with that quiet confidence, replied, "Yeah, I'm ready because you showed me how to do this."
Surprisingly, I'm very happy, actually, because Phil Heath is my best friend. This is a great moment. I always said that if I was to lose the title, I wouldn't be happy to lose it to someone like you as my friend. And I was very proud to see you come up, and now you are the king.
Phil Heath had officially become the 13th Mr. Olympia.
Obviously, I have to thank Jay. He told me, that I had great potential, and I thought he was full of it, but he believed, and, I'm just very happy that I had, and I still have, a best friend in Jay. And I tell you what, being the champ, I just pray to God that I can be half the man that Jay Cutler has been to this sport, because
He is the true epitome of a champion, a warrior, a friend. You know, that man is just something special, and I will always remember this moment.
So from student to teacher, Phil Heath stepped into the spotlight. But Jay Cutler's legacy lived on, inspiring the next generation of bodybuilders.